What's going on?
You gotta bring it around town, Mr.
What?
Spirit. Did you see? Did you see?
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 77 of the Game Recorder. This is we had a guest for a second, but I guess the squirrels must have knocked the power out. So, but it's all good. We're
Crazy.
yeah, but it's like I said, it's all good. So per YouTube's new ridiculous guidelines, I cannot do our usual bit that we usually do in the beginning of Game Recorder.
We don't want
just for the sake of protecting our YouTube channel. Thanks, guys. And here we go. I am here with not only my guest co-host Luis, or I'm sorry, not guest co-host, but co-host Luis. Say what's up.
Yeah, what's up, dude? I'm hungry. I woke up like 2 hours ago, or like actually an hour ago. And the hunger is hitting. The hunger is hitting.
Or you should have ate something, bro. Why are you waking up this late?
I slept like at 4 in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went to sleep at like 6:30. That gamer last night.
In the morning?
Me? Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and introduce him. He is our guest for today. We have Dwayne Burke Made. My guy, say what's up to the people.
What's up?
Not the Celsius.
Yeah, the Celsius. It's the tropical vibe. But yeah, I was up pretty late last night. Not because I was playing video games though. I was playing a different game. I was playing Pathfinder, which is like a D&D type.
Game. I've actually heard of it. Yeah.
But still gaming, it's still games.
Still yeah.
I'm like, Pathfinder, you playing Apex?
No,
we have not played Apex in a bit, man.
We like haven't played Apex like at all this season.
Yeah,
what season is Apex on?
15. And it's kind of whack. This season's kind of whack.
Broken. It's not even like cosmetic or story lore. It's just the game itself is fucking whack
So and for anyone who's watching, this will kind of tie into our first story. But so this season when they started, ranked was supposed to be on Olympus.
Mm-hmm.
First day of the season, map crashes. like everybody is dead out of the game.
Yeah,
there were a lot of people talking about that on Twitter.
So they took the map out of rotation and replaced the map for ranked this season.
Yeah, and you don't do that. You only change it every 3 months or so.
Yeah. Although they did say that once they fix it, they are just going to put it into rotation. They're not going to wait until
the next season,
the reset, rank reset. But
which is crazy because we only got like 30 days, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not really a lot. So it's basically probably going to put it by next season.
So how is Apex doing like as a whole besides like that whole debacle?
Well, as much as I
mean, I guess we could talk about the first story because it's a big part of the first
story.
Yeah,
that'll lead us into our first story. Where some games have been having some trouble recently.
Mm-hmm.
And by trouble, I mean there's a lot of trouble. E3, I'm sorry, not E3. So there are a few games that have been shut down, that have announced shutdowns over the past couple of weeks, and it's kind of sad to see because some of these I played personally, and it's kind of sad to see them go. So according to Destructoid.com, online game closures are nothing new to the industry. New multiplayer and purely online games come and go with the seasons. But we're a month into 2023 and have seen a heavy smattering of live service games announcing their imminent closure. Live service, or games as a service, constantly update. They find life in the churn, and for some, it's an extremely lucrative prospect. Look no further than Fortnite, Call of Duty, Warzone, or Genshin Impact, for examples. Heck, even MMOs, which existed a bit prior to the prominence of live service titles. Still, this past week, we've seen a number of newer games announce their imminent closure. Fellow media outlet Gematsu put together a handy list over on Twitter, which I'll go over right now. So, the first game on the list actually is Apex Legends Mobile.
Yeah.
Which is significant because the game's only been out for what, like a year?
No, last dude. I think it came out in November of last year.
So
really?
Yeah. It's newborn.
And the thing is with Apex in particular, or Apex Legends Mobile in particular.
Yeah.
The announcement was released from Respawn.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it was worded was, things outside of our control have forced us to, end the game or whatever.
Yeah.
May 17th.
Things outside of Respawn's control, but not things outside of EA's control or things outside of Tencent's control, because Apex Legends Mobile was a joint venture between Respawn, EA, and Tencent Games, who makes like every mobile game like in the world. Tencent Games, if y'all are gamers and you don't know Tencent Games, like they're like the biggest game publisher on the planet, because they make all those ridiculous mobile games. But yeah, so there's that. They also said, hey, we can't refund your money, if you bought anything.
And the amount of cosmetics they added for that game too is
they said any refunds have to be done through the app store through which you purchased the game.
Yeah, said items.
Right.
So like you would have to go through the Apple Store or the
Google Play Store,
the Google Play Store or whatever Google's using these days. So like they basically, anyone who played Apex Mobile got
assed out.
Because like the other thing, and this is an Apex issue more than really about this story, but there's no cross-platform progression.
Yeah.
So like you can't even transfer the things that you got on mobile over to
your main,
the main account and then use them there or anything like that. Like, so
I'll be right back.
You really got screwed if you bought stuff for Apex Legends Mobile.
Right.
I mean, some of the other games, a lot of the games on the list are EA, titles, or formerly EA titles, because like I know Knockout City.
Yes, this was one that I saw on this list that I'm actually kind of sad about, because Knockout City to me was very unique. I think like this is probably one of the few games that tried to, take a new spin on the BR genre, because like it's not I think they tried to consider it a BR, but that's not really what it ended up being. There is BR elements, like there's a BR mode in the game, a battle royale mode where last person to get knocked out wins the round. But it was like the fact of the matter of it being dodgeball, and it was cool, but they didn't do enough to keep the game going. There wasn't enough like innovation, with the game modes they were bringing. There weren't enough mechanics to play around with. There just wasn't enough replayability.
I think that was an issue for sure. I think there's also, because I played Knockout City when it came out. I also really liked the game, but I found the skill gap to be a bit too high. And I think that was a big problem. Anyone new coming into the game got stomped.
Yeah, that's very true.
There was like no coming into the game new. If you weren't playing from like day one and learned all the like maneuvers and stuff, like you were getting stomped when you came into matches. Whereas like, you know, things like Apex, Fortnite, Call of Duty, there's a skill gap, but there's also, you know, a chance that one day you're just not going to be good enough to beat that new guy that's camping in the corner. You know, that really
off there. What you mean, Nate?
That really wasn't there really wasn't a thing like that in Knockout City. And there was also a very large differential between PC players and controller players in Knockout City.
That's very true.
Yeah,
that is very, 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 very true. Because I remember because the game was crossplay, I remember having me and my friend, we would turn off crossplay because the skill gap between both platforms was just so evident. I feel like if you played on PC playing against a controller player, I feel like the PC players 9 times out of 10 had the advantage just because it's a lot easier to
because on mouse and key there were things that you could do with one button that you would have to do with multiple buttons on controller or multiple forms of input on controller. You know, like on PC, like you could hit one button and it would do a curve shot, whereas on controller you would have to like hold R2 while hitting another button while controlling the curve with your thumbstick. And it's like there's always gonna be that input debate in games, but in Knockout City there was no balancing between the inputs. Like in Apex, there's a very clear divide between mouse and key and controller. And there's benefits to both.
Controller getting aim assist.
Yes, but there's also the movement techniques and things that you can do on mouse and key that you can't do on controller. Like something as simple as being able to strafe back and forth while looting. That's something you can't do on controller, but you can do it on mouse and key. And while people don't think that that's a big advantage, it's a very big advantage.
Major advantage.
So like there's always going to be that way to balance inputs, and I think that that's something that didn't happen with Knockout City. And all of these issues were compounded when the studio went their separate way from EA, and EA was no longer footing the bill or whatever EA was doing, distributing the game. I don't know what their relationship exactly was on the business side.
They're the publisher,
but
yeah.
But what they did is when they split, they went to a free-to-play model.
Yeah.
Which just like unless you're Fortnite or Apex or Call of Duty,
battle royale
that doesn't really work because like what are people gonna spend money on in your game? Like even Among Us, not free if you're not playing on I mean, I don't know if it is now.
Yeah, it's free on mobile.
But it's free on mobile. But if you don't want to play on mobile,
you got a little, you got $5.
I mean, it's cheap. It's like $5, but even then, it's not free.
And even then, you get all the fucking cosmetics. The point of the question of that would be, how are we going to keep the lights on if it's a free game while having no extra add-ons to incite people to
or
purchase
add-ons
stuff.
that people are really gonna want
Yeah.
to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing in Apex and Call of Duty, as well as like Fortnite, well, less so in Fortnite, but in like Apex and Call of Duty, I don't know how Fortnite stays in business. I'm being completely honest.
Those fucking collabs, man. Those skins.
Yeah, the collab, like that.
Well,
That
what
really
I mean
is.
I understand
Mhm.
how the collabs work, but they have to make those
Yeah.
things sell in order to
Yeah.
incentivize people to collaborate with them,
Yeah.
and people buy them for some reason. And this is
Yeah.
why I think it's the closest model to Knockout City would be Fortnite, because the game is free and the things that you purchase in the game don't affect the play of the game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Apex, people are incentivized to buy things because you can do things like unlock characters earlier. In Call of Duty, you can do things like unlock weapons earlier, or unlock weapons without having to complete the challenges in order to unlock.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
there are actual active incentives to pay into the game.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that in Fortnite. Like, if you don't care about how your character looks, like, you can just play the game from day one and never spend a dime.
Yep.
Right.
So that's how I'm like, I don't know how Fortnite makes money. Like, what I mean, I know how they make their money, but I don't understand how people are so like incentivized to just buy a skin that looks cool.
I think for that type of scenario, it's just they hit the strings to people's hearts when they choose the collabs that they do with DC, Marvel, and all the basic hype trains that be happening around. Because right now we're getting the new Attack on Titan season, and then they're doing the fucking AOT collab.
I'm not gonna lie. When they when around the time that Spider-Man No Way Home came out, Dwayne,
he's gone. Man's internet.
around the time that No Way Home came out, they actually, after No Way Home came out, they started releasing No Way Home skins.
Yep.
Like with Tom Holland in the game. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool. And then the battle pass that they had for that season had Doctor Strange and Spider-Man in it. And they had the black suit, and the black suit is my favorite suit. And yeah, I fell into the trap, and
Did you get the battle pass to get?
Yeah, I got the battle pass, and I finished that bitch.
That's better. Yeah, that's better than the $25 per skin, because like the individual skins you can get them, but for like 25,000 coin, 2,500 or 25,000 of the Apex, or not Apex coins, the
2,500, yeah, 2,500.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, when we think about it, the battle pass usually always is in our favor, just by the amount of times you play the game. So like for me, if I were to get something on Apex, it would probably be the battle pass, because it's like 15, $20. And it'll allow me to get a couple skins that I might like, plus like Apex coins, because they do give you Apex coins in the battle pass. So that in itself will already like add up to getting another battle pass for next season. I don't know if they give you enough to get it, but they definitely help you reach that. But yeah, there's always incentives to purchase items in these free to play games. And if there isn't enough traction to hold, we're going to get stuff that, well, like what happened with Knockout, just the interest of the people playing or online is going to fall through. And then when you have major corporations that'll back you financially, and they go their separate ways, that leaves you the question of, should we stoop to the lowness of having people buy this game
Mm-hmm.
just so we can keep our lights on or having it free, and then having people keep interest by either skins or just basic gameplay. But like you guys are saying, because I don't remember, I think I played it once on the PS4 with my brother's PS4.
Yeah.
But I don't remember much of it because I had no one to play with, so it wasn't that like it was fun, but it wasn't that fun without the homies. You know, you always every now and then, unless it's a single player
It's
game.
definitely a lot more fun when you're playing with people. Because
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, like when my friend wasn't on to play, I wasn't playing like at all. I
yeah.
was not playing because again, like the way that the game works, because a lot of more games are starting to implement it. But the way that the game works is they're like the better you do, the higher you go up the ladder
Oh, like
up,
XP and whatnot.
so you start
Yeah.
facing freak, like if you have like a really good game, like where you get like 20 something eliminations and you
Mhm.
hardly get eliminated, you like a couple games later you could be facing freaks,
I
like
mean,
Gene.
dude, I know a thing or
Like
two
if
about that
FaZe or Optic had their
matchmaking.
own or Knockout City team,
Yeah.
like
Oh, dude,
you
yeah.
start facing people like that. So
Apex has that problem too, where they even admitted it, where their matchmaking is based on like teams of four on terms of like how much you win and shit, and then like if they make you be in bad games purposely, where there's high level players when there shouldn't be high level players, you lose, you keep losing for a couple rounds, and then
mhm,
you get into a lobby where finally you're a little better than the other players and you can handle your own, right? You win, and that's what makes you like before you say you quit, like, hey, this is my last game if we fucking die again, right? It's like, oh, okay, we won, let's go another one, right? And then they add you back into the big fish bigger pond shit.
right,
It's fucking wild.
mhm,
But yeah, no, you're right, where the games, that's where you also lose people that aren't quote unquote what gamers are, where they just keep playing the game for the sake of like enjoying games, even though they go like just burst out crying, angry, whatever you want to call it, when you keep losing, right? There are some people that
mhm,
actually just play games that aren't necessarily gamers, but enjoy a night or two of like hanging with the boys, hanging with the friends, and going about it on a free to play game or one of those online plays.
mhm.
And having the discourse, I don't know if what I missed when I went to go pee, but like having the games that are actively being booted off are all the basic free to play slash online mobile games and games. Um,
Yeah.
because
Which actually another one that had been, and this one was in fact like battle royale style, Rumbleverse. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rumbleverse or seen gameplay of Rumbleverse.
I think I might have, because it does sound familiar, but won't say it's like off at the top of my priority memories. Um,
It was basically like wrestling.
oh yeah,
Wrestling
yeah, yeah.
battle royale.
I
Yeah,
see the
yeah.
video. I see the video.
Yeah, with like cartoony kid. It was
Mhm.
it was really fun. I won't lie. I think the problem, and to be honest, that game could have done really, really well.
Mhm.
Its biggest issue, it came out far too late. Battle
Really?
Royale games are starting to slowly taper off now. Like there's not as many coming out as there was. Like,
Oh
in
yeah.
the beginning we had like, H1Z1,
Yeah,
PUBG,
yeah, yeah.
Fortnite. Then we got Warzone and Apex. Those were like the
The
big,
games, yeah.
I probably say the top 5 that people are playing and still playing to this day.
And here's the thing with that, with H1 and PUBG, they were only PC. So a lot of people that were
Right.
seeing gameplay about it that wanted to play couldn't play because they didn't have a PC. They only had a console,
Mhm.
right? And then Fortnite came out and it was like for everyone, and it was crossplay too.
Right.
That was like my first, like back when I wanted to start a YouTube channel and was like doing mini games and whatnot, like mini videos about it. Where we got bird pack.
Are
Always
you
with
good?
the internet
My
issues, dog.
my internet just died, like
Bruh.
died.
Yeah, this is the shit we deal with when we're playing Apex with Kevin too.
Oh,
Kevin
wow.
fucking
Yeah,
it's one or the
it's
other.
What kind of
It's-
internet you got?
it's Cox, bro. This shitty ass fucking provider, man. Like
Yeah.
they're
Wait,
doing,
is that the actual name?
yeah.
Well, no wonder. With
Yeah.
that name, of course, is
Um,
Cox.
Yeah, like I wish I could have like fiber or something more reliable, but
Mhm.
they're the only like they got a
Provider, yeah.
monopoly out here, bro.
Got you. Yeah.
It's garbage. Like
Wow.
I mean, I'm
Garbage.
supposed to have good speeds and whatnot, but like my internet's always cutting out, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
yo, what is this?
Fuck, man.
You
Yeah.
got the man. Oh, we were just talking about we had got into Rumbleverse, and I was saying
Mhm.
how Rumbleverse could have really succeeded, but its biggest problem was why it didn't succeed and it's getting shut down was the fact that it came out far too late. And especially in a time where BRs are starting to people are starting to kind of move away from the BR genre. There's not as many coming out. I was saying how we have, in the beginning we had H1Z1 and PUBG, and then along came Warzone and Apex. I'm sorry, H1Z1, PUBG, and then Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
then
Warzone and Apex.
yeah, then Warzone and Apex.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say before I got is that I think the reason Fortnite succeeds is because Fortnite was first ish.
Yeah.
I would call it first just in the sense that it was available everywhere. Because PUBG and like I was telling them, PUBG and H1 were PC only.
Yeah.
They were, but they eventually made
they went around.
Yeah, they made the console.
But Fortnite is like that's the reason Fortnite succeeded in a way that I don't think Knockout City could. Is because part of the reason Fortnite gets away with it is because they were first.
Right.
Had they not been first, like had it been, H1Z1, PUBG, Apex, Warzone, then Fortnite, I don't necessarily think Fortnite would succeed in the way that it does now.
Yeah, I would have to. I think I agree with that as well.
Mainly because
Fortnite wouldn't have had the time to get that same Steam train running where they were able to build a reputation.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why it got so big is because YouTubers got, or content creators in general got wind of the game, got it more popular, and then people, started taking notice. Big companies started taking.
They were also able to build a culture within the game of the game's going to be free and you keep us in business by buying the cosmetic stuff.
Stuff,
and then they also use content creators as a way to promote buying stuff in the game. Whereas
and not only that, their tournaments, for people that like the competitive scene or that were in the competitive scene, they hosted tournaments that were bigger than any tournament I feel like Call of Duty has ever put on. I'm not even gonna lie. People were about those Fortnite.
There's tournaments like if you're talking about the scope of tournaments and like what games have the biggest tournaments, it's always going to be League of Legends.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Of course, that's why I didn't say League.
And I don't
no way.
Yeah, I don't think anyone realizes like people who are gamers but they only play like BRs don't understand that BRs are nothing in comparison to like League. Like if you're looking to make money as a gamer, get good at League, and that will make you money. But yeah, I think the biggest reason Fortnite succeeded in the way that it did is because it was first, and Knockout City was trying to replicate a little bit of that magic. I think that they also failed because like their BR mode was not BR enough.
Yeah.
Sense.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everyone was the same. It was just like your ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's a little bit of luck in Fortnite, you know, like you might get the gold guns, and even if you're a worse player, that gold gun might save your life because all
Right.
they got
Yeah.
is a blue gun, you know,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
you know, same with other BRs. Whereas in there was nothing really in Knockout City that had that like luck factor of a BR that could even the skill gap, which made people like me leave the game fairly quickly. Like I stopped playing like within like a month and a half because I wasn't playing day in day out, and you know the hardcore sweats just made the game not fun.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I played because when Fortnite first came out, I played in season 0, where literally all people did, if not build at all, were just using ramps to protect themselves
Oh
because no
yeah.
one knew anything about the game.
I fucking
So,
miss those days,
but
man.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
And I'm in the same boat as you, Dwayne, where I didn't play day in and day out, and then all of a sudden, a month later,
yeah,
everyone's
you got
building
the
entire
you got the architects,
empires
It fucking went
within.
to school during that fucking time frame.
but that's why. So I did not play Fortnite until No Build came out. Well,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had played
Mm.
a couple times. But I basically I never played solo. I always played on a team, and I
Yeah.
always said to my teammates, I'm not building shit. I'm just gonna shoot. So
Right.
build around me while I shoot.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and then No Build came out, and boy was I clapping cheeks
Dude.
because them kids had no idea what to do when they couldn't
Mhm.
build. They had
Yeah.
no idea how to
Yeah, when
like
they got shot,
wait.
they didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they were like, "Oh, I got shot, but I can't build. What do I do?" Like, and I went in because I came from Warzone,
Mhm.
Right.
so I was like, I knew what to do.
Clap.
Like,
Yeah. Only shit that could stop me was fall damage because I came from Apex and we don't got fall damage in
well,
there.
no, yeah,
I was jumping.
fall damage would get me a little bit too, because like in Fortnite, it's a lot of fall
Yeah.
damage. But
Yeah.
even then, I
You
have
can
not
fall like 3
played.
feet and take like 40 damage.
I've only played a few games from like season 0. Like I did
Mhm.
not play Warzone at season 0. I think I hopped in at like season like 6 or something like that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I hopped in an Apex at like season 11
Yeah.
or
around there.
something like that, 11 or 12. I hopped into Fortnite at like chapter 7, season whatever.
Point
Like
three,
I hopped in,
episode
like,
5 or so. Yeah.
yeah, I hopped into Fortnite pretty late. It wasn't until the No Build came out. So like I am a slow adopter of hopping onto games. I don't tend to hop onto games until they've built a little bit of a track record that they're going to survive and be around for a while, because
Mhm.
of this situation like with Apex Legends Mobile, I don't want to get invested in a game and then I don't have the game
They
anymore.
yank it out of you. Yeah.
Mhm. That's
Like
true.
Dude.
like I think Knockout City is the last game that I bought at season 0. Because I think I bought that after the last Star Wars fighter game.
Mm.
Right.
Squadrons. Because I did buy that at season 0. But I bought that because I love Star Wars and I wanted to fly an X-wing, not because I really
Yeah.
care. Like
Mhm.
I play that game. I don't actually care. I'm not good at the game. I get waxed every time I play. But I play because I want to fly an X-wing. I don't play
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I want to be good at the
Right.
game.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah. So, a couple of other games. So we mentioned Apex Legends Mobile, Rumbleverse, and Knockout City. A couple of other games that got announced to be getting shut down were Battlefield Mobile and Crossfire X. Of course, you know Battlefield. That's That's also EA. EA seems to be having some
These are all
issues,
EA
man.
games though. So that's the thing.
EA is having some issues.
Yeah.
I think the only one on here that's not EA is Crossfire X. Everything else is EA.
The
Published.
thing though is the only one that is EA's like actual game is Battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah.
Because Apex Legends Mobile was done in conjunction. Well, yes, but they own Respawn, but
yeah,
it's also done in conjunction with Tencent.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then same with, I think Battlefield Mobile was also done with Tencent.
Yeah.
But they own Battlefield. And then Knockout City was in conjunction with, I forget the studio, but they split from EA and took the game with them, and that's when they went to the free to play model. So it wasn't even while they were still under it wasn't even while they were still under EA that they
Valan Studios
that they went under. But I think the big takeaway is free to play games are not making the money that they used to. Because that's a lot of these are free to play games that are going under.
That's true.
Or they switched to a free to play model and then went under.
They can't.
And I think that that's the big takeaway, is that you can't just make your game free and people are going to play it.
Yeah. I mean,
the game still has to be good. And
there has to be a feasible attraction to have the game installed, take space up in your thing, and to actually have you hold say we'll call it a basic, like even for non-gamers, a basic 3-day like straight of you just being infatuated and playing the game until you burn out, right? There's nothing to hold you to that. And it kind of sucks because even for like Star Wars, the Star Wars article that we're gonna talk about in a bit, stuff like that, those are all either made by EA or EA has some involvement, and the financial situations on that kind of goes to a point of how much money does EA want to quote unquote waste on something before they move on to the next big catch for them? Because we all know by this time, ever since Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, or is it Battlefront? Yeah, I think it's Battlefront.
Yeah, Battlefront.
They are about their money, and I get it. It's a business model, right? You're not going to start a business and not want to make money. That's just a stupid thing. We're not Mr. Beast out here that can make money by doing what he wants. It starts to beg a question of like, what game models does EA want to keep and actually maintain as a well-fitted, well-trimmed bush, and then what are we gonna scrap?
I think EA's problem is it's not even about the game models.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is their games.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Their games are the problem. Of FPS games, what are the two games that people complain the most about with bugs and issues?
Battlefield and
Apex.
Battlefront. And Apex.
Apex. Because I don't know anyone who still plays Battlefront, to be honest. I'm talking about like current games that are like current and like lively in the space. The two FPS games that people complain the most about are Apex and Battlefield. And the last Battlefield got trashed.
Dumped. And you can listen. Y'all can go back into my the catalog, like a couple of shows, and watch me trash on how bad that game was. I will say now that the game is gotten substantially better. They're doing a lot of overhauling and updating and things like that, but it doesn't change the fact that the game came out in such a horrific state that it almost seemed like there was never a beta.
And like, how long has the game been out at this point?
For
like
which one?
2 years?
About
Battlefield
24.
Yeah,
whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's been out for like 2 years.
A year.
Or
2 years.
Like,
something like that.
And it's the same issue that I have with Project CD Red and Cyberpunk, and while I'll never play it, is similar to with technology, you should not be selling a game or you should not buy a game on future promises.
Yeah.
Right.
You should buy it on what you have when you buy the game. So if what was initially released and promised to us is what the Cyberpunk that we have now, which is a playable game,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider buying it and playing it. But there's the ethical issues with CD Projekt Red and that whole release of the game, as well as they released an incomplete game.
Yeah.
And I think that is just a bad business practice that I don't want to reward. And like, it shouldn't take you a year to fix your game.
When they especially had however many years, because the game was announced back in 2012 and they didn't really start ramping up until 2020, 21.
I think that, around pandemic time was when they
right, exactly, around
news.
pandemic time. So
because everyone started playing video games and VRs exploded.
So there's nothing else.
It was just like, y'all had all this time, y'all can't, like, and that's why I'm so disappointed in CD Projekt Red, because they came out with a game like The Witcher 3, which is so beloved by the gaming community.
Yeah.
By from people, I still need to play it, but I just know that when The Witcher 3 gets brought up, people are like, oh, fantastic game. CD Projekt Red knocked it out of the park. To go from that to Cyberpunk 2077?
Yeah.
Yep.
What were they doing? What were they doing?
They bit off more than they could chew is like the actual answer. Is they had all these ideas about the game and then got to the deadline and hadn't finished.
You started saying like a couple of months before the game released that they were scrapping mechanics. Like wall running was supposed to be in the game, and they scrapped that like 3 months before release. Like,
aside from scrapping, they pushed it back like 2 or 3 times from the original date.
That as well.
Right.
But to kind of get back onto the topic, is EA's problem is their games. Their games are trash for the most part. Even Apex, a game that I love, has a lot of problems. And they don't seem like they plan on fixing them at all. They just keep polishing the turd and giving new content instead of fixing the problems that are in the game. Like, you still can't hear on a consistent basis
audio, but instead we got some nice stickers for your shields.
15 seasons in and you still can't get consistent audio in the game. That's a problem.
It's fucking wild, man.
And it comes down to the quality of your games. And to be honest, Apex did not get its fan base from being a good game. It got its fan base from Titanfall.
Titanfall.
If it wasn't for Titanfall, had Apex been released in the condition that it was released, it would have failed.
Yeah. And now that we have, going off a little bit to our next thing, is having EA scrap time. It would technically be a sequel, right? If I'm not mistaken, from the news, the new Titanfall game that they were going to incorporate, where you play a new storyline with some of the old characters from the original Titanfall 2 games, and having that completely scrapped along with the Apex mobile game and all that. Which fucking blows, because it's like, you have a popular fan base. If it's done well, you're gonna get your money's worth, because it's an actual game where you're gonna have to pay like what's the minimum right now, $60 for the new game.
70
if you're lucky. It's 75 5 like
Ridiculous.
on average.
Yeah.
And then when you get the deluxe edition or whatever, it's like
It's like
110.
100. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Fucking no. But
Man.
things like that is where that whole the games, yeah, you're picking and choosing the wrong fucking games to pull out, and then we have stuff like you were saying with the Apex being broken and then having other shit being broken, writing off of past games, and it just goes on to a question of when is EA gonna make a good game choice? Not a good game, but a good game choice.
You know what's funny? The
What's up?
places where they have good games
Yeah.
is where I think that they've taken their attitude from. And that's Madden and FIFA.
Oh, that's right. Fuck, I forget. It's in the fucking title, EA.
Madden and FIFA are pretty consistent. They don't change that much from year to year. At this
They're
point,
still ass.
At this point, I mean, they're not. I think FIFA the most.
I mean, well, FIFA probably isn't, but I think Madden is. I truly think
Madden is it is what at this point. I don't know why that they keep releasing new games and they just haven't released like one, and then they just update and charge you an update, basically a subscription fee to play the game every year. Like
I wouldn't put it past them.
Like at this point, that's what I would do instead of redesigning an entire new game. Like,
because I'm pretty sure the mechanics don't change. It's just cosmetic.
Not really. It's not even cosmetic items. It's stats, who's on what team, and then
that's what I mean by cosmetics.
They have a new storyline kind of for your creative character, which they can just add as DLC every year. Like I think that the reason that they don't pay attention to things like Apex is because they're like, well, Apex is like, yeah, it makes us money, but it's not our real money. Our real money is FIFA, Madden, and then I heard that they were trying to find a way to get back to making NBA games and squeeze 2K out. I don't think it's gonna happen. But and then I also thought I heard
so that actually, now that you're bringing it up, that actually lead us into our next topic with another EA title, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
I was gonna say they also got the NCAA rights back to release an NCAA football game in 2024. So that's where their money is. Like they're real like everyone like now talks about EA in terms of Battlefield, Battlefront, Apex, but people forget from like 1990 to like 2008.
Oh yeah,
even 2010.
EA Sports.
The only thing EA really made was sports. They had football, basketball, golf. They had surfing, I think. Because they had Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, I think.
I remember.
They had a snowboarding one because I'm pretty sure they made SSX Stricky.
Oh my god!
Like they basically built their entire empire on sports games, and outside of MLB The Show, which is I believe a 2K game as well as a PlayStation exclusive, and NBA 2K, they got a stranglehold on sports, and they make so much. Like FIFA,
it's surprising.
FIFA is like one of the most profitable games like ever made. And it's,
I mean, you can just go on YouTube and just look up how many people daily are still to this day doing pack openings on FIFA. Whatever FIFA
Ultimate Team.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's ridiculous. Like the amount of, I can just only imagine the amount of money that FIFA makes off of like Ultimate Team pack openings alone.
FIFA and Madden Ultimate Teams. That's where the real money is in the game. Is in those, and
It's in the game.
it's insane. And anyone who thinks EA actually cares about Apex or any of their other games, like they do, to the extent that they do make them money.
Yeah,
But that's why they're not investing a lot of money into
resources into
Respawn
it.
and
Yeah.
helping Respawn, fix the game.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, the Respawn company or the child parent sister company, whatever it is, they like subtly said like, "Hey, we understand and we kind of want to fix it, but we have currently other deadlines that we have to meet."
Yeah.
In some of
They
their
they
teams.
have to make new cosmetic items and new
Yeah,
weapons and new legends that they can sell and new heirlooms that are going to cost $160.
fuck that.
You,
Yeah.
and even them, they've
Mhm.
said, "Hey, charging $160 for this, not really our call."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of
Um,
fucking yeah.
but yeah, in EA just continues and it trickles down into things like, Fallen Order, whatever the
Jedi
sequel's
Fallen
called.
Order.
Jedi Fallen
Yeah.
Order, yeah.
So yeah, Jedi. I'm sorry, not Jedi Fallen Order, but Jedi Survivor,
Mm.
which was recently announced at the Game Awards.
Yep.
And it was slated to arrive originally on March 17th, and has now been delayed 6 weeks to April 28th. And I hope, because honestly, usually delays, for the most part, you would assume delays mean polishing of the game.
Yeah.
With Cyberpunk, it kind of, because they delayed that shit twice
So
and
Yeah.
still came out in the States. So
the reason this got delayed, and I mean I'm guessing here, but the difference between this and Cyberpunk is Disney.
That's true.
That's the
Yeah.
difference.
that's true.
Because one of the things with Star Wars right now is everything that is released is part of Star Wars canon. That includes games, books, comics, anything that is released officially by Disney is part of Star Wars canon. So that game has got to be airtight. There can be no mistakes in that game.
Yeah.
And Disney is more than willing to bite the bullet, because they know that if they released a game that was crap, they would lose more money than if they just push the game and throw some extra dollars at it.
Yeah.
They know that they would lose more money in the long run by releasing a crap game.
Yeah, Disney's tactical with those fucking kinds of decisions from shows.
How long did they push? And this is movies, not video games, but they pushed Black Widow. How long?
Fucking 5 years.
They released. Well, no. I mean, from the initial announced release date.
Yeah, from 2016, somewhere around there.
But I mean, after they filmed the movie.
Yeah.
Because the 2015 or 2016 original release date was before they had even filmed.
Yeah.
But once they filmed the movie and had it in the can, they pushed it like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, didn't even release it in theaters.
They fucking
they were like,
sad day.
But if they know their business well enough to do that with a movie that would make them bank, that they are not gonna play around with a Star Wars video game. They are gonna make sure that it is perfect before it goes out.
Especially with the success of the last one.
And to be honest, I think that's why it got pushed, is because there was something in it that Disney didn't like, and Disney was like, "Yeah, y'all are gonna fix that."
Yeah, I'm with that theory, honestly, because from my point of view, pushing such a game back, it goes to things that are more corporate level, more like we have to have this, not game mechanic. Well, of course you have to have game mechanics perfect, but having such a major company, a major name, a tie to it, it's like Nintendo not trusting any other fucking movie production company anymore up until Illumination, having them do the new Mario movie, it's like they're putting a lot of trust into one single category of product as games are. But shit, yeah, I mean, I put some money on that bet.
Yeah, I would too, honestly, because of course Disney they don't care. They really don't care like how hard you work on something. If there's something that they don't like in whatever, project that you're making, they're gonna let you know and you're gonna fix it regardless of how you feel about it.
Yeah,
And if you don't like it, you're out.
they got Disney money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they
They got that money.
fucking frozen
So,
head storage.
But yeah, what it says here, and it's funny because it's funny that you say that, Dwayne, because it says that in order for the team to hit the respawn quality bar, provide the team the time they need, and achieve the level of polish our fans deserve, we have added 6 crucial weeks to our release schedule. Star Wars Jedi Survivor will now launch globally on April 28th. Respawn posted on Twitter.
Yeah. And to be fair, if there is a studio that I trust that when they say that they're doing it about the quality of the game, it is Respawn. Because despite the issues that there are with Apex, none of those issues really stem from Respawn. A lot of those issues stem from post EA buying Respawn.
Yeah.
As well as, although I think it may be a quality control issue or something in the game, possibly, it could also just be time for them to make more copies of the game, because maybe they like had a certain amount made, and then they got pre-orders and were like, oh crap, we don't have enough copies of the game made. Or whatever. Like there's a ton of different things it could be. I don't think, well, I shouldn't say that, because 6 weeks is enough time to fix a major issue with a game. But I don't think that that's the, like, I think it could be a combination of both or whatever. But I think that it is a testament to this game is going to be good. I don't think we need to worry of a CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk thing.
No,
where we're worried about, oh man, are we gonna get, because they also didn't announce like, hey, we're cutting this thing out of the game or anything like that. They just said, hey, we need 6 more weeks.
They're
not announcing any changes to the game or anything crazy like that. It's just,
especially coming off of the success that was Jedi Fallen Order. People love Jedi Fallen Order, and I've gotten, I would say, about 25% of the way through the game, and I love it. It is fantastic.
It got awards too, didn't it? Right?
Yeah, it did actually.
I don't
think it won Game of the Year. I don't think it won Game of the Year.
No, I forgot what else came out during.
I think it was Best Action Adventure, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. What came out that year?
As a matter of fact,
did what year did it came out? Last year? Or the year before?
That was the year. It was the year before.
Okay, so it wasn't that Dark Souls.
It was 2019.
Not Dark Souls. The game made by Elden Ring. It wasn't Elden Ring.
No, that was last year.
Oh no, that was year before. No.
2019 Game of the Year awards. Sekiro.
Sekiro won Game of the Year that year.
Yeah.
What? Sorry. What?
Yeah.
Actually, what is this?
I mean, you can't. I mean,
it's a choice.
When a soul. Wait, say again.
I said that's a choice.
Oh yeah. I mean, when a Soulsborne game comes out, like, you really can't compete. The only game that I say really had the biggest opportunity to win Game of the Year against a From Software game was God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok had the biggest opportunity to win Game of the Year, and it didn't. But it did stomp in basically every other category. I think Elden Ring had like 3 other awards besides Game of the Year.
I don't like FromSoft games that much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like they're just
think,
they're not for everyone.
I think because of like you have to be a particular type of person to like those games. And I think for that reason, that takes them out of the conversation for Game of the Year for me. Because I think Game of the Year needs to be a more universally accessible like game. Like it needs to be more than, oh man, this is the hardest game I've ever played. Because I'm sorry, but the story in FromSoft games a lot of the time lacking.
Yeah, was there a story in this one? I remember.
The story is lacking most of the time. And I think that games that have a more balanced overall offering to the community should be the ones that win Game of the Year. But we're not here to debate what
Game of the Year,
Game of the Year.
Yeah, no,
that'll be next year.
No, I respect that though. I mean,
but I think that's why like games like Ragnarok, or like I think games like Jedi Fallen Order or things like I mean, it didn't win, but like Assassin's Creed Black Flag is like a perfect example of a game that should win Game of the Year. Like that game was incredible. I mean, minus the multiplayer like section of the game that was kind of an afterthought, but the game itself was incredible. But it's things like games like that I think things that bring people to gaming should be your games of the year, not the hardest game I ever played, so gamers love it.
Yeah.
Because when you hear Game of the Year, or you see the Game of the Year edition on the shelf and you pick that up and then you play it as an average gamer or someone who, recreationally games, and you're like, I can't get through the first level of this. How did this win Game of the Year? It hurts the credibility of Game of the Year in the future to that audience. They're no longer going to pick up the Game of the Year edition because they're going to be like, well, last year the Game of the Year was some shit I couldn't play. So why am I going to get next year's Game of the Year?
I think good contrast would be like It Takes Two, where anyone could pick it up and enjoy the entirety of it.
Like, I don't think it's unfair to say that Among Us should have been considered the Game of the Year.
Yeah, no, definitely. Aside from it coming out during a point where none of us could fucking do anything else, but it was an enjoyable game.
But also think of the stranglehold that game had on the world.
Yeah.
Not the country, the world.
Yeah.
The stranglehold Among Us had on the world.
Fucking hell.
That is a game.
It was so ridiculous to the point I had to block that shit on YouTube, like Twitter, because content creators were running that game into the ground, dude. I was so... It was like no one uploaded anything else
for a good month
besides Among Us. But that's because it was, dude. But that's another example of a great game, because not only is it entertaining to play, it's entertaining to watch. Because watching the way people interact with each other in the game is entertaining. Yeah, that's why some games like Call of Duty, Apex, and whatnot are not as entertaining for viewers, because there's just no like social.
There's no story
aspect of watching.
I feel like Among Us kind of like it.
Each session has a story.
Yeah, exactly. Like
there's the story of the game, but each session also has a story. Like, can this person lie to this person and make it through? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like every interaction in the game creates it's like kind of a choose your own adventure type thing as you're watching.
Right.
But things like that I think don't get enough consideration when they're picking things for game of the year.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of picking things for game of the year, I'm sure this game, when it comes out, is going to be game of the year. Insomniac's Wolverine
Hard R, man.
is reportedly targeting a mature rating. The in development Marvel game could release early as late as 2024, it's claimed. Oh, buddy.
I mean,
Yeah,
Insomniac Wolverine.
that's
I,
Hmm?
I'm sure it will. I don't know if it'll get talked about for game of the year. I think
I
people
think it
will
will.
want it to be considered for game of the year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it will depend on when it comes out.
What is also a side with it, because there's
Yeah.
games that come out that have no like marketing, and then people enjoy it the hell out of it.
I think that this was when they announced this game, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was an awesome way to announce it. It was an awesome announcement. I don't know. One, I don't know how this game is going to play.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of need to.
So there's reports that they're going for a God of War style of
Gameplay and mechanics.
gameplay
which
with Wolverine.
is a little worrisome, only because like when it God of War has reached a point where the mechanics are not what drive people to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
So when you're coming out with a game, it has to, if it's going to be in the God of War style, the story has to be the focus. And that I'm a little worried about. Because what story are we going to get?
That goes also into what kind of relating to what you were talking about with the Star Wars is I'm not sure. I don't remember if it said in the article, but with everything going on with Disney and Marvel in the actual cinematic universe, right? We're talking about movies real quick, but having a game go into that mature rating, and also having Marvel titles becoming more mature, because apparently Deadpool is coming and it's like canon and whatnot for the people listening and that don't know. Deadpool 3 is gonna have Hugh Jackman Wolverine come back and it's gonna be mature as well. What does this game tie into with Disney's name on it? Because Disney isn't that company that you would think, oh, they have mature stuff on there, right? So having one of the what was it, the developer that said is gonna have a hard R type gameplay or whatever, it was a quote.
It was hard R is what we're going for.
Hard R is what we're going with.
Yeah. Well, the thing that Disney has done, I don't know if you want to say it successfully or well or whatever, but they have not done like they've done with Star Wars and said everything that is released is connected.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I think they're going to get away with things like bringing Deadpool in, even though they've already said they're going to tone Deadpool down.
Yeah.
But I don't think people make the connection as often with Marvel to Disney as
Star Wars and Disney.
Yeah. Especially with things outside of the movies.
Yeah. That makes
because
sense.
none of it's connected to
anything outside. Yeah. From
like, whereas like people can't really separate Disney from Star Wars because everything is connected and like the fans know it's connected.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas like there might be someone out there in the world that still has no idea that Disney owns Marvel.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know,
that's true. Yeah.
You're I'm sure there's someone out there.
I mean,
honestly,
I'm not gonna lie.
I just want to see a trailer.
Yeah. I want
to see a trailer. Now we know that Spider-Man 2 is going to be coming this year.
Mhm.
That's at least what is reported. Insomniac is planning to release Spider-Man 2 this year, and to be honest, I just want to say that when that game comes out, y'all ain't gonna see me for about 2 months. So, because I'm 100%ing the game. I'm playing it on I'm gonna play the story on normal first, and then I'm doing it on the hardest difficulty after, because I ain't got time to be doing the story on the hardest difficulty. You got me messed up. So I'm doing that. And I'm playing any DLC they come out with. I don't care what DLC it is. Listen, if Venom ever becomes playable,
I mean, we got
curtains.
mods.
It's curtains. Y'all ain't gonna see me again. Y'all ain't gonna see him again.
That's fair.
I'm gonna be playing the Venom story like it's fucking Call of Duty, bro. I'm just be on it every day for no reason, just playing.
Is Insomniac doing Wolverine as well, or is it's in?
Yeah, it's Insomniac. Yeah.
Okay. So we have that to kind of rely on, kind of lean on. Is that they haven't failed us yet, so we just gotta trust the process on that. But I do wish to see at least a beta test of gameplay footage, to give me the fluidity and feel of the game, But for right now, that's what we're leaning on why it's gonna, like, okay, we can see this working out is because of Insomniac.
Yeah, they have the credibility that CD Projekt Red had before Cyberpunk. Like they've delivered enough that we have faith in the announcement. It's just I need to see more, because I don't need to play God of War, but just with Wolverine. Like,
yeah.
Like, I need something more than that. And like, that's kind of my issue with games like Elden Ring, is like I need more than just super hard boss fights.
Yeah.
That doesn't interest me when I play a game anymore.
For me, when you leave a game so open world where it's boss fight after boss fight, not much lore unless you're actually digging into it, because there's some stuff that I didn't even know I passed on and didn't even know it was part of like a side story or whatever. I get bored after a while just fighting, because I'm like, okay, I figured out the pattern, I figured out the combos.
I think we've reached a point where games have become too open world.
Yeah,
I agree. I am getting really, really tired of open world games, and I kind of came to this conclusion just recently because I played the Forspoken demo, and regardless of how other people feel about the game, I feel entirely different about the game. That's besides the point. My biggest issue was that it was another open world game, and open world games are getting exhausting now. It's really tiring constantly to having to, especially if they don't have a fast travel system in the game. It's really tiring to traverse these giant landscapes over and over, going to different objectives, side missions, it's so tiring, especially if you're open world. It's lifeless.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's been another Assassin's Creed since this, but the last one I played is Valhalla. And I maybe got a third of the way through the game because I was just like, I am done exploring, like, because it just takes so long to get from point A to point B, and you can't fast travel until you've been somewhere. And I'm just like, I'm over this.
Yeah,
because it's not linear the way you move through the world. So like, if it was linear to whereas, like, what I mean by that is you basically won't have to fast track anywhere you haven't already been. Right. And you won't have to pass by an area that you need to go to later to get to somewhere else. You will always be moving in a linear fashion through the world. Which is the way, like, Black Flag was. Like, you You didn't move into an area until you had a mission in that area.
Right.
Mhm.
Like you could explore it early if you wanted to, but you were never going to have to get something from an area until you had to go there for a mission,
Yeah.
and then that would activate the ability to fast travel to that area.
Mhm.
Whereas in like Valhalla, sometimes you would get side quests in places that you like weren't gonna go for like a while in the story.
Yeah.
And
Fuck.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so I can't fast travel there.
I'll have to play Black Flag because PlayStation decided that they were going to drop the whole damn Assassin's Creed library on our foreheads without any prior notice. So they have damn near
Is it part of the
every
free?
Assassin's Creed that you can think of, including the I call them the off-brand ones, but like the I
mobile
think there's like
ones.
China Rising or something like that.
Those are the ones that were released on mobile.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So
They're
they have
basically side
every Assassin's
side
Creed.
scrollers.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I surely won't be playing those. So you,
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest. 1, 2, and 3 are fine. Or 1, 2. What is it? Liberation, and then there's another one. Are fine. 4, I think, is where the series really takes a step forward. The problem is, after that, it doesn't really go anywhere. So,
wait, are you talking about Assassin's Creed in general?
Yeah. Like,
oh well, yeah. Like I'll play the main like Black because I played 3 already.
If you don't care about the story, which is like super convoluted and just like because if you don't care about the real world story, the stuff that's not taking place in the Animus, just play 4. Just play Black Flag. You don't need to play the rest of them, because the rest of the story only connects as far as like it's very tangential, and it gives you the back history of the conflict between the assassins and the Templars. You don't really need to know anything outside of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I never picked up Assassin's Creed. Aside from fucking coming from a broke family, not really.
Yeah,
being
it's
able to buy
it's so like
but-
convoluted and just like it's ridiculous. Just play the good ones, which I think is like 4. I think Valhalla is good. I might go back and replay it because like I enjoyed it. It was just the game was too big.
Mhm.
The game was just too damn big. Which is also the issue I had with Odyssey and Origins, which is the one in Greece and the one in Egypt. And then they also Origins was weird because you went back to like the origins of the assassins, and you don't have all the abilities that you're used to having through all the games up until then. And they're like, how did we take a step back?
Yeah. I feel it.
But anyway, we went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we went.
Play Black Flag. Black Flag is so much fun, and the ship-to-ship combat is like some of the most enjoyable parts of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, I mean, for Insomnia, for the article that we were talking about, we have good standing with Insomniac, so we'll rely on that for right now. But we definitely, I think we all would agree, we need to see some form of like how is this going to play out, and if it's not just going to be another, like you said, mechanical sense of God of War. Like, let's see actual points of entertainment value for the story, because I mean, if you see Wolverine, you just don't want to
thank you for following Emags. We appreciate that.
Hey, appreciate it. But yeah, aside from that, before I have to get off because I had some other shit to do, we had, is it the last one? Did we go over the minor ones?
Oh, we were going to talk about The Last of Us. It was going to be a real quick conversation.
Oh, I mean, fuck it, it's Last of Us Sunday, so
yeah. So The Last of Us, The Last of Us has already been renewed for a second season. HBO has confirmed.
Yeah.
Wonder if it'll be based on the second game.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be based on.
Oh, I wonder
if it is fucking.
I really wonder.
Moment. Yeah. I
mean,
Hold on, are we gonna talk about the game?
Yeah.
Because I haven't played it yet. Fuck.
What?
Part
Last of
two.
Us
Part
2?
two. Yeah, part
Well,
two.
you know, I won't say anything about the game.
It is
I
worth.
I would just say, oh, you haven't played The
You
Last of
haven't
Us?
played it
I
at all?
definitely recommend it.
Yeah, we recommend it. If you don't want
I
spoilers, I don't
definitely
know if we're
recommend
gonna
it.
do spoilers or
Yeah,
not, but
it's a great game.
Yeah.
I have seen some of the complaints about the show, and from what I understand, people who don't understand the difference between television and video games and why they are formatted the way that they are now understand after the last episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
be, because in one of the things people have to understand when you're, and I think this is an issue people have with video game adaptations as a whole, is when you are playing a video game, there is always information that you're not going to have because you are supposed to put yourself into the mind frame of the character. You are playing as the character, and it's information that character would not have.
Yep.
When you are watching a television show, you're not doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You are always going to have more information than a character would.
Yep.
Always. So when they show things in a different manner or they add things like basically all of what season or episode 3 was, that's why they do that, because there's information about those characters that, yes, as a video game player, you shouldn't have, but as a television watcher is essential.
Yep.
Um,
And that goes into just whole like story making between game stories and like TV and cinema stories, because those are like same but different, you know. But yeah, no, it's definitely very intense, I would say, in the sense that it can be emotional, but it's very intriguing to get like background story information on like just Joe, Ellie, like all the characters that you will meet soon enough. Part two, haven't played it, but I know it's a little bit longer than the first one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to get through once we finish the show, because I let
Yeah, you
Raul borrow
definitely.
my copy that I bought.
Yeah.
What you trying to say?
you ain't ever getting
No,
that.
I'm trying to formulate a thought, because it's just the fact that we all kind of saw it coming.
Yeah,
That season 2 they were gonna announce. I didn't think they were gonna announce it this early,
that's
but
true. Yeah.
I definitely did see it coming, and I remember telling my friend when they announced the first season of the show, I was like, chances are they announced the first season, not long after it's gonna be coming that second season, and that second season is you're in for a ride.
Right. Yeah.
For most people that have played, most people that have played The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't play Part 2, but I did watch a playthrough.
There's shit.
You're in for a ride. I would definitely say
that. I mean, it definitely goes, especially for new show watchers, because Brad, our another co-host that we have on this network, he has never played any of the games, and he's only been relying on the show, and even he says it's like damn.
So do you think our 3 episodes in, it's the best video game adaptation?
Yes.
Well,
I would say
we like throwing like movies and series.
Yeah, I'm telling you about just in general, because as
I think so.
There's been a struggle across the board to
Yeah.
adapt
I
video
think
games to any medium.
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
When you see movies like Doom from 2003 with Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
it's an entertaining movie.
That is the gutter. That is the gutter.
I think that there's some competition.
Yeah.
I think Detective Pikachu is up there.
Yeah.
I think Castlevania is up there. Yes, Emags, there is a Doom movie, and it
Yes.
is terrible.
Oh,
It is
It
okay.
is. It is one of the worst
hold
movies
on.
ever made.
You guys played
I
the
would say
game, right?
literally the last
So
like
you guys
15
got
minutes.
lore. I've never played the game when I first watched it,
No,
so
I'm not
I
even
just
talking
thought it
about.
was.
I'm not even talking about lore. Like it's just a
No, yeah,
badly
no.
It's
made
just a
movie.
bad movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a bad movie.
It's
Damn.
terrible.
I
Up
will
until
say
like
the
the
fucking
last
lighting on that
probably
was horrible.
15 minutes of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which are like
The only good parts of it are the CGI FPS parts.
Oh, that
exactly.
yeah.
The rest
That-
of the movie is terrible.
It's terrible.
But we got a fucking Doom Slayer, mate.
No, I
he's
would
fucking.
I would not recommend paying money
But
for it.
I think that
HBO has it. If you did, I mean, you can find it for free
yeah.
anywhere on the internet. But
But
yeah,
What were
I
you
do
saying?
think Detective Pikachu is up there in the
Mhm.
conversation. I think
that's definitely true.
I think the Castlevania animated series on Netflix is up there.
Mhm.
I know it's not a well-made movie, but I think Mortal Kombat is up there
That's true.
as
Yeah,
far
with the new one.
Because that movie it gave you exactly what you were supposed to get out of
That's
Mortal
true.
Kombat.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like I understand people not liking a new unnamed character being added to the fray, but like all I wanted was finish him, fatality, rip out body parts. Like I didn't really care about the story
Sonic
of
movie
that's
kinda
true.
had
Sonic
me
2
like-
was also
I still
good.
gotta watch it actually. I still have to watch both
I haven't
of them.
seen Sonic 2 yet. I did like the first Sonic more than I
Mhm.
thought I was going to.
Mhm.
We'll see how the Super Mario Illumination
Oh,
movie
yeah.
is. Super Mario Brothers was terrible.
Yeah,
I think
that-
that's up there with the worst movies ever made.
Man.
Dude.
Yeah,
But
that's
as a
down there for
whole,
doing that.
like as a whole, video game adaptations just like they have not, landed
Been
across
great,
the
yeah.
board. Whether it was whether it was animated, it was
I'm so sorry about that.
sorry, whether it was animated, whether it was
Live
live
action.
action, whether it was
Mhm.
movie or
It's like a
television, like across the board, video game adaptations were just not,
Hitting and sticking.
hitting.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Advent Children is one that is like one of the older ones that is good, but it's also incredibly hard to understand if you've never played the games.
Right.
Or no, sorry, not Advent Children. The
Is
one that
it-
is a sequel to 7. Advent Children is the one that was
Dissidia?
no. So there's a animated Final Fantasy movie that is a sequel to 7. And then no, Advent Children is the sequel to 7. It's Echoes Within or Spirits Within or something like that. That is completely independent from all of the Final Fantasy games.
Mhm.
And it is so convoluted and hard to understand that it's anyway.
No, I gotta say real quick, since we're talking about video game adaptations, the new Resident Evil movie, I much prefer the original ones. Holy shit, bro! They did. I barely played the Resident Evil games, but I know enough about like some character types. They did Leon dirty on that one.
The first it
gonna,
sounds fine. I think it's dumb, but it sounds fine. I'm
gonna get a
talking
quick
about
comment
Chris.
about
Chris Evans, yeah, or not Chris Evans, fucking Pratt.
What
Yeah.
I heard,
yeah.
what I heard in the little trailer teaser or whatever, it sounds fine.
Yeah.
We won't know until we see the entire thing.
Yeah. Because we just got like little snippets, but
We've gotten more.
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. He
We'll have to
gave
see.
us a let's go. Like he gave us that in the trailer. But
I feel like they didn't get anyone to do a unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
They just got someone that could imitate the Mario voice lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not even.
So until we really see some like extended dialogue, I'm gonna I gotta reserve judgment on his.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to our final topic for today. So listen, guys. Apparently, we're just not having an E3 this year. We're just not having an E3 this
We
year.
are, but we're not.
Yeah, I mean, because okay, so I'll go into it. Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony will not be a part of E3 this year.
Mhm.
E3 is if you guys don't know, E3 is a huge event where all, gamers from all walks of life, mobile, console, PC,
Anything in between.
stone tablets, etching
Yeah.
tablets, whatever the hell you play video games
The
on.
Fisher
Like,
Price tablet of
the
2005.
Fisher Price, what everyone, we get so much like gaming news, you don't even know what to do with it. Lot of game announcements.
Yeah.
For the past few years at least. And this year we just got news that Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo will not be attending E3. So basically, E3 is probably gonna be mid. Now I will say that we also have Summer Game Fest, which is, the kind of the competitor to E3.
The more budget friendly, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the leapfrog. Yeah, yeah. Get So how do you feel about the doing? We'll just go around the table.
So I think that it's not as concerning as it initially appears.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going to happen is similar to what happened with Comic-Con. Marvel pulled or Disney pulled Marvel and Star Wars out of Comic-Con and created their own
that's right. They did create
around both.
That's true, because Sony does
not really
have
around both. They have Star Wars Celebration, which is exclusively Star Wars, and then they have D23, which is a Disney convention, which includes Marvel and everything. So while they do some announcements at Comic-Con, they're not as big of a presence as they used to be.
Yeah,
they save their announcements for their own, convention. I think Microsoft will probably create their own convention that will be focused around all their products.
Yeah.
And then will include Sony. Or not Sony, sorry, Xbox. And then I think Sony will probably do something similar, but just for PlayStation, because Sony's other like
state of play
technology. I mean, like their computers and stuff. Well, they run off Windows, like their Microsoft things. So they're not gonna really highlight that at their convention. So they will probably do a PlayStation centric one. It'll last a year or two, and then they will go back to E3 when they realize how much money it costs to put on a convention that no one wants to go to.
Yeah.
Because I don't think either of those is going to draw enough away from E3 that it's going to
make notice.
Because the difference with Disney is Disney has Disney adults. So they're going to go to D23.
Yeah.
Star Wars has a fan base that spans generations. They're going to go to Star Wars Celebration. Microsoft doesn't have the clout to pull out of E3 and host a sustainable conference.
Yep.
And neither does Sony. The only company that I think has enough clout to do it is Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nintendo has enough clout that they've got theme parks.
Yeah.
In multiple countries now. Because they've got a Super Nintendo Land here at the Universal Studios here, and they also have one in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Sony and Microsoft / Xbox don't have that kind of clout. They don't. They just don't.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's largely in part because Nintendo is. So is Sony, but Nintendo is a
I'm getting one in
is
Florida.
I
That would
think
make sense. Slightly.
Japan based. I'm pretty sure the headquarters is in Japan,
For what,
if I'm
Sony?
not
Nintendo?
mistaken. For Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nintendo, yeah.
But the other thing with that is, Nintendo has another benefit. They have a built-in location to host said event if they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas, and that's why Disney is successful as well with it, because where have they hosted D23 and Star Wars Celebration the last
Disney
2 years?
parks, right?
They hosted it right here in Anaheim, right next to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then they hosted one in Orlando right next to Disney World. So similar to that, Nintendo would be able to host it at somewhere close to Universal Studios here, or Universal Studios in Japan, or Universal Studios in Florida.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Microsoft and Sony don't have anything like that. And I think that if they tried to host anything other than a virtual only event, it's going to lose them money, and they're just going to end up back at E3 in a year or two.
And we already know from past experience how virtual events go with like the Disney fandom one, even though it got its relative traffic for the online views, but even then most of us watched the clips that we wanted on YouTube.
Yeah.
The ones that we actually cared about.
And
Like,
I think that's similar to what happened to because wasn't there like a virtual E3 during the pandemic?
I think there was, yeah.
And it was a very similar situation. It just and I think they are looking back at that and deciding to leave E3. And it's like, you're not comparing the same data. Like, you're comparing the views and whatnot you got out of a virtual event versus what you're going to get out of a returning physical event.
Yep.
And I think that they'll be back at E3 next year or the year after.
Here in Florida, it would be a madhouse.
Shit, man. We can't have shit in Texas, man. I want one in here.
But I'm just saying, I think that and in the long run, this is going to be a moot point. It's not gonna. They're gonna be back at E3.
Yeah. I think so, and I think partly of the reason of them doing this as well is because they all kind of already do their own thing anyway. Because you think about it, PlayStation has State of Play, then Xbox has the Xbox Showcase, and then Nintendo has Nintendo Direct. So they kind of, I think they kind of figure that those showcases will be able to take the place of their positions at E3.
But they're not ticketing those.
Yeah.
And they're not getting a cut of revenue out of it. It's like, okay, maybe you get more advertising revenue, but like, I don't see how in the long run it's gonna be for anyone other than like Nintendo, really. And maybe the reason they're pulling out is because of their track record of having whack ass announcements at E3. Because the only company that has consistently good announcement at E3 is Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, like, because like the other thing with the other difference, like kind of or bigger difference between Nintendo and then Sony and Microsoft / Xbox is, as far as game announcements, Sony and Microsoft and Xbox don't really make those. The developers make them.
That's true.
Because they share games.
Yeah.
Nintendo gets to make game announcements because the games people buy Nintendo systems for are not on any other system.
Yeah.
You can't get Smash Bros,
Zelda,
anything Mario on anything
Not
else.
anything
It's
else.
only available on Nintendo. So, when they make a game announcement, it's big.
Yeah.
Sony and Microsoft don't really make any game announcements themselves. The only thing they would be announcing at E3 that couldn't still be made at E3 without them there is like a console or a peripheral announcement, or another subscription tier to their
fuck that
online service. Any game announcement could still be made by the developer that's at E3.
Yeah.
Even if
like
it's
we know
exclusive.
Ubisoft is probably gonna have something. They have something every damn year, and it's probably gonna be 2 more Assassin's Creed announcements. So
maybe one Tom Clancy,
probably along with another a new Tom Clancy game, or probably Ghost Recon Breakpoint DLC or something along that line. So we know that more than likely Ubisoft is going to be there, even though they're on. I think PlayStation just acquired Ubisoft or something of that nature. I'm not, because Ubisoft has Ubisoft Plus on PlayStation right now. Like you can, that's what I was talking about when I brought up all the Assassin's Creed being dropped on our forehead in one night. Yeah, that's because Ubisoft decided to put every Assassin's Creed they've ever owned onto PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
but like with that, if you get a what's exclusive MLB The Show, right? PlayStation exclusive. I think 2K develops that, right? I think
MLB.
Yeah, MLB The Show. I think it's developed by 2K Games, even though it's not 2K. It's developed by 2K Games.
Right.
Like the fucking quarry.
2K Games is still going to go to E3, and they're going to announce MLB The Show next year. Whatever next year's MLB The Show is. The games are still going to get announced. Sony doesn't have to go to E3 to do that.
You're definitely right.
If they don't have a hardware announcement, there's really no point for them to be there.
Yeah.
Leaving
their company on property to do their little show business on the side, while they want to go ahead and if they had that PlayStation 6 to unveil, then that would be like.
Which I mean, E3 would be. I would do that at E3. I would not do that at
just online
the Play Now showcase or whatever the hell they call it. I would not do that. I would do that. I would make it an event if they're releasing a new PlayStation. But I mean, PlayStation 6 is like 2 to 3 years out. Like it's
something along those lines.
Like the best we're gonna get right now is
like a 7-year.
Yeah, the best we're gonna get right now is a PS5 Slim or something like that.
This thing,
like that's the best we're gonna get right now.
It's fucking huge, isn't it, huh, Keon?
This thing, this is ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, is that the disc or discless?
No, disc, because I like to have the choice of
because that's the other thing is it's gonna be
it's your gay system.
They're the same size. They're the same size, even though one doesn't have a disc drive. That's another thing that pissed me off. It's like they're the same.
I noticed
size.
that too. Yeah, it's fucking wild, man.
Like you had the chance to actually make that's exactly why they didn't release a slim version. It's because they're going to release a slim version, and then someone who already has a PS5 is going to be like, "Ooh, I want the tiny one."
Yep.
And then cough up another $700.
No.
God,
what a time that was. Fucking Cole's Cash.
I'm sure that a lot of the companies that we usually see at E3 are probably going to be there. Like I said, Ubisoft is more than likely going to be there, and then we'll probably see like a few other independent studios there to probably. We'll probably get a few surprise game announcements more than likely.
Might as well fucking.
Maybe the Division
bigger news would be fucking getting GTA 6 unveiled at this fucking event.
So
while they're out, but
the other thing that oh wait, hold on.
No shit, what'd you find out?
Oh, Nintendo won't be there either. Okay.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Okay. So the biggest thing to take away from that is they're not even on the show floor. That's the biggest takeaway of that.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't just like, if it was just they're like, oh, we don't have any announcements, we're not doing any panels or anything like that, that I could understand for the most part. But not even being a part of the show floor is kind of,
they will not be present at all. Yeah,
big. But that might also be just a change to the way that they want to focus E3 as well, and they want to get away from, you know, the hardware side of E3 and just move to announcements.
Yep.
You know,
definitely a lot of that.
I mean, that's
their speculation.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's what like a lot of people complain about when it comes to these events like E3 and the Game Awards especially. That's why like the Game Awards kind of ramped up how many announcements they did, but E3 has kind of been lacking in the past couple years.
I think the Game Awards is a weird place to make announcements.
I've always thought that, but they make them, and I don't know. That's always been weird for me.
Yeah, that's an odd place to make announcements, I think. Because you don't get as much fanfare, you don't get as much because one of the things that you can do in a physical con environment is like PlayStation 6 announces, right? They announce it, they talk about it, and then on the show floor, you know, shortly after that, now you've got, you know, obviously they're not playable. They're behind
the prop display.
They're prop displays, but you've got that stuff on the show floor.
Yeah.
You've got people walking around building the hype about the announcement that was just made. You know, people are tweeting about it, whatever. That doesn't happen at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a very different and maybe they're relying more on the online hype, I guess, or something like that.
Who knows?
I don't know.
It's
I
definitely a weird scenario too.
Yeah, I think it's a weird scenario, like, because there's also less because I'm thinking about it in terms of Comic-Con, there's less behind closed doors stuff that gets announced at E3 than at because, you know, at Comic-Con you'll get like, hey, here's first footage of Blade, you know, and you don't get to see it if you weren't there,
right?
There's nothing like that at E3 really. But I think if they found a way to do something like that, it would make E3 more effective for them.
I
agree.
We'll have to wait until it actually pulls through and then see how the whole display line goes for.
I think it is going to have to be a 2020 hindsight type thing for this, but I do think that it shows a switch in what they're trying to use E3 for, possibly.
I mean, that's about it. Everything's, of course, of just theory. You know, we'll probably get some news later on to continue. It's usually how it goes. We get some more news if it's like important or whatever. But I think we went over all the articles, right?
That's pretty much it. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. The show ran a little bit longer than I expected. But that's all good. We had some good conversation. I'd like to thank Dwayne for coming on to the show. Like thank Louise, as always, for being my co-host.
I was mandatory.
I get confused all the time trying to point to someone. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I want to appreciate all you guys for coming through. Jay,
Mags,
Mags,
and
Ayden, we appreciate
Ayden,
y'all.
that's
Make
right.
sure you guys,
Yeah,
if you
decent.
haven't already, use code THENERDCORPS at rogueenergy.com for 10% off of your Rogue Energy products. Again, thank you to Rogue Energy for sponsoring this podcast. And with that being said, Louise, send them out.
All right. Yeah, I mean, thank you again, Jay, Mags, Ayden, for joining. I don't know if you guys stayed the entire show, but either way, we appreciate the shortcomings. Mags, definitely check out Doom. I personally like it. That shit, I don't know why. Maybe I just seen it from a young age. So it was, Jay, I'll have to check out if they ever build one in Florida. I don't know what's closest to me, Florida or California. I think I'm evenly split between the both. But I do want to go to Universal.
I think you're technically closer to Florida.
Technically,
Yeah.
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 It's weird how we view the world on a map all flat in 3D. But yeah, I mean, check us out next time, which is technically tomorrow, because we will be reviewing the latest episode of The Last of Us. So that'll come out in like 3 hours. I think it's the episode premiere. But
Yeah.
we'll definitely have some talks for tomorrow's episode. So come join us then. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what else EA decides to pull out. Because it's not out of my butt.
Because my dad
it's
sure didn't.
fucking bending me over and not fixing Apex and shit. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. Kevin, you want to go ahead and hit that?
We can curse after the intro plays at the end, right? Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn.